It won't affect any football this weekend, which is almost a fluke when you think about it. The kind of football, I mean, if it's a different week,
you're right.
Pittsburgh, Foxborough.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you could be in real serious trouble with that.
Those are two of the bye week teams that because of the first and second round selections. So,
well, weather does affect the lines, and if we're talking lines, we're talking about sports interaction. And guess who?
From the frozen tundra of King Street West, or actually East.
Oh, I thought you were going to say from the frozen tundra of Stouffville, Ontario.
No, I think everything is the frozen tundra of just about everywhere across the entire North America right now, boys.
I was going to say,
we're all indoors.
This is not your favorite weather. I'm just taking a wild stab, but I'm guessing you're not big on the winter activities. This is what I'm guessing.
No, I'm not a big outdoor guy. I was one of those guys when I was forced to go on a ski weekend summer. I'm the guy that sat in front of the roaring fire with as many rum and cokes as I could possibly sit on my table at one time. While everybody was out skiing, my idea of the ski trip was, as long as they had a nice roaring fire somewhere, I was going to go. And if there wasn't one, I would just set my room on fire. It's that simple.
Well, there might be some people doing that. But luckily, Stephen, and, this is what, you get a little lucky here. I mean, we know what's happening on the East Coast, and as they talk about it in the Massachusetts or Eastern Seaboard, they call it a nor'easter. They're going to avoid that simply because of where the games are this week. But what does the NFL do? If you get pounded, because there's been some famous games where they're playing covered in ice. I think of that Steelers Houston Oilers, that game where basically icicles are pouring off. But if it's unplayable, what's the NFL do? I mean, it's got to be really bad for them not play a playoff game.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's ever happened. I mean, unless it's completely unsafe for players and fans. I mean, I would imagine they played, and like you just mentioned, they played the ice bowl, and if playing on a sheet of ice with leather helmets isn't dangerous, I'm not sure what would be dangerous.
So what is?
I'm not sure if they had leather helmets back then. I might be exaggerating.
What is dangerous then? Is a -9 Kansas City? Is that a dangerous line, or are you sitting there because I know you like the stinky, smelly, awful dogs? You see some numbers, you drool at the stench of that dog. Is that the case in the Tennessee game? Are you still there?
Yeah, Tennessee is a sticky. Yeah, I'm here. Are you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we're good to go. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Tennessee, the eye test, the smell test tells you Tennessee's really looked bad slipping into the playoffs. But you know what, Mike? They did cover 5 of their last 6 games. They did win last week when they had to, and that's not easy to do. I think you can ask the Ravens about that one. So, yeah, I'm going to lead to a dog that can run the ball with the 8th best rushing efficiency versus the 32-ranked defense and 32-ranked run defense against the run in Kansas City. And you know what? I noticed Mariota, most of Tennessee's problems this year has been Mariota's not being healthy and hamstring problems. He did rush last week for 10 rushes for 60 yards versus Jacksonville. I think he's getting a little bit healthier. Titans defense over the last 6 weeks kind of come alive. Have held opponents to 17 points. KC 1-6 against the spread their last 7 playoff games. Tennessee has covered 5 of their last 6 and 6 of their last 7 versus teams with a winning record. You know what? It's definitely not my favorite, Mike. And there's only 4 games in the card. You don't have to bet every one of them.
Yeah.
But Kansas City's been 2 up and down for me. Surprisingly, they were 10-6 against the spread, which might surprise you based on what their up and down season. I think Tennessee can control clock a little bit. I know DeMarco Murray's hurt, but Henry's a great running back. I think they can control the clock a bit and stay within this 8.5 points and cover.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So what do you think about the total? If they start pounding that ball, which tends to happen in some of these playoff games, are you interested in the under at all in this? It's right now it's at 44.
Not as interested as I am in some of the other totals this week.
Yeah.
Like I said, not really got a good feel for this one. Tennessee will be running the ball. Kansas City will be probably running the ball. Yeah, and without bad weather to be in effect here as far as rain, wind, I'm not sure this total is really attainable. Probably the under is where I lean, but this number has not moved at all. It opened 44. It's been 44 all week.
When you talk about the Titans, Steve, and good morning, sir. When you talk about the
Good morning,
Titans,
David.
can the same thing be said about the Buffalo Bills, where it's a larger number? They're playing against a team that should win. The home team should win this game, but it is over a touchdown mark, and the Bills are pretty excited about being in the playoffs. It only happens once every 2 decades. So, do they cover this number?
David, where would you like to begin listing the red flags that jump out as a gambler on this one? I mean, you want Blake Bortles and the Jaguars trying to fill your wallet as a 9-point favorite, or the decades of Bills futility with a very questionable Shady McCoy and no passing game?
Yep.
I'm not really interested in this game either. There is something I'm interested in this game anyway, and that is the total. I don't see a Bills offense that finished second last in pass completions per game doing anything against Jacksonville defense, who allowed the league low passing yards. But why I find this total interesting, it's very low at 39, and I think this one could go over. If the Bills are forced to pass and they turn it over multiple times to the Jags, that turns into some easy points for Jacksonville. On the other side, you never know what you're going to get from Blake Bortles. Throw 5 picks in the last 2 games. And finally, when 2 teams clash in the playoffs, averaging less than 40 points combined, the over is 40-17-1 since 2001. See, what happens here in totals in these scenarios are usually shaded to the under because the public sees these 2 bad offenses, a Jacksonville good defense, so they're going to shade that to the under, and that's where you get the low number. But a lot of turnovers create offensive opportunities. I lean to Jacksonville in the game, but I just don't trust Blake Bortles with my money and 9 points. I do think that turnovers will create points, and I'm actually leaning pretty heavily on the over 39 in that one.
We're talking to Stephen Rapp here on rawmikerichards.com. Remember, still available, Dave, on Sports Interaction. They're just waiting to not only take the action, but give you money to do it, Dave.
No, that's exactly it. So you log on to sportsinteraction.com. First time deposit, they'll match you up to $200. But the key is, and you know this, Stephen, when you sign up, you gotta fill out that one page. It's really quick. It's pretty simple stuff.
Just a pull-down menu. Menu.
And at the bottom, it's a pull-down menu. Where did you hear about us? There's a column, rawmikerichards.com. You click on that, and they top you up right there. So you put the deposit of $200, you get the extra $200, you're good to go for the postseason. Hockey playoffs are coming up in a couple of months. The All-Star game's here. Everything's happening. This is the time to do it. If you haven't done it already, get on it right now, sportsinteraction.com.
You might want to take some of that money and take a look at that New Orleans game. And when you do research, when you handicap, when you take a look at these teams, boy, I'll tell you, everyone and their mother really seems to be on New Orleans. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people on Carolina, which is sort of interesting. They've already beaten them twice. -6.5. It's under a touchdown. The total is 48.5. How do you see it? Right there. Stephen Rapp.
Yeah, this game's seen some professional money, Mike. Jacksonville's seen a little bit of professional money. New Orleans has seen a little bit of professional money. That's why you've seen it go from 5.5. And it did touch the key number of 6 there for a while. That's the resistance where the buyback will be. Once it hits 7, there was buyback on Carolina. So as you say, now it sits at 6.5. The Panthers have teased us over and over that maybe that 15-1 team from 2015 lurked somewhere in those shadows. But coming down the stretch, they failed to cover 3 of their last 5. They did not look very good when they needed wins versus Tampa and Atlanta. The Saints have beaten the Panthers handily twice this season, covered the spread both times. They've covered 6. They've covered the last 6 versus the Panthers. And I'm going to trust Drew Brees at home against the Carolina defense and struggle against the pass the last 3 weeks, allowing the league worst 300 yards per game. And, this is not going to be a shock to you or anybody else that's betting this game. I'm going to be looking at the over of this game, total of 45.5. Both matchups this season went over. 6 of the last 7 meetings have gone over. Last season's playoff games in domes went 5-0 to the over. Last 33 closed dome playoff games have gone 25-8 to the over. And finally, Cam Newton is 14-4 to the over on the road with a total of higher than 47. There's a whole bunch of trends that says over. That usually means it goes under, but yeah, whatever. I'm leaning to the over in this game as well. That shouldn't be a shock. This one should be a shootout, obviously.
And we talked the Rams. We haven't talked Rams yet, have we?
That's a Saturday night game. Yeah,
yeah.
The 8:35 game on Saturday night. Rams and Falcons.
5.5. What do you think? Is that a reasonable number for the Rams at home?
Yeah, I'm not going to overthink this one. I've been overthinking the Rams all year long. It's cost me. They've proven to be the more consistent team of these 2 all year, and I think sometimes you have to believe what you see. So Atlanta's been very inconsistent. They've never really found that rhythm under the Steve Sarkisian offense. Now you get Steve Sarkisian as an offensive coordinator in his first playoff game, and he gets a duel against the master Wade Phillips. This line opened Rams 5. It's gone up to 6.5 on solid public action. I do see now it's back down to 5.5, so we found that sharp resistance as well. The Rams have been money, covering 6 of 8 as a favorite, 4 of their last 5 of their straight-up loss. And the Falcons have failed to cover their last 4 as a dog, and they've covered only 1 of their last 6 on the road while going 3 of 3 straight up. I lean to the Rams here as well. I don't like favorites, but I think the smell test, eye test on wild card games, if you just remember, it seems like the favorites just really kind of clean up on wild card weekend, and I lean to the favorites doing the same this weekend as well.
Well, it's going to be an interesting weekend, a great one, as you said. It could be an old rum and coke weekend. What do you think?
Yes, it's rum and coke, vodka, soda, beer, basically anything that will make you forget that it's minus 1,000 outside.
Exactly. Hey, Stephen, thanks so much. Have yourself
When
a
they
great
say
weekend.
warm in the cockles, Michael. Warm in the cockles.
Oh, I'm big on cockles. Thanks so much, Stephen. And
Careful with that
thanks
pronunciation.
for saying
eh?
yes. Thanks for saying cockles on the show.
What? We just become best friends? Yup.